What's up, everybody? Welcome to the craziest episode of Freshman Territory yet. I'm Chandler Rome. Tyler Stafford is somewhere in Houston, and Josh Reddick is, where are you, Josh?
Breckenridge, Colorado.
We promised you guys if we got to 60 likes, or if we got to 60 reviews and rates on Apple, that Josh would do this live from a mountaintop. Josh, there are people that are not watching on YouTube, so can you describe to people what you're wearing right now?
So if you want a quick answer, it's a Tipsy Elf suit. It's actually a ski suit, even though I'm a boarder. But my buddy actually got this for me last year. So it just fits the persona, man. So you can go to Tipsy Elf. I think it's just called the USA suit, full on zip up, and why not? This just fits.
We're used to seeing you in USA themed apparel, but in with a lot more skin showing.
Yeah, people might be a little bit more happier now that there's less skin showing. So,
you're looking great, man. I mean, it fits perfectly.
Tyler, I know you're the Breckenridge aficionado. So if you've got any questions about where he is, let's try to tell the people where you're at specifically. Tyler, you and Josh talk about 2 minutes where this is.
What run are we on?
Right now I'm going down 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made the fork off. My kids are in snowboard school, so when I'm done here, I'm just going to make a little peek over, see how they're doing. So I'm about to go past. Is that Rip or 5? No, 5 chair. 5 chair. So 5 chairs is right there in front of me.
Where's the spot where you got to make sure that you keep speed, or else you get stuck with all.
Right there, we're actually right there where it reads slow.
Yep. Yeah, you got to blast through it.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it from right here and not down there, so I can. I'm on the slant, so as you can see, I'll have plenty enough to get there.
There you go. That's impressive, man.
So Josh, you just snowboard, you don't ski?
No, so that's like when I started last year. So last winter was my first year, and for those that don't know, my wife was a pro snowboarder in her 20s, so she traveled the world doing all kinds of crazy stuff, jumping out of helicopters and doing all kinds of crazy things. So when I started and my boys started, we didn't really have a choice, which in reality, I've never gotten on skis, but I tell you what, I can guarantee you snowboarding is way more fun than getting on those things.
I need to do it. Growing up in Texas, I would only get 2 or 3 days at a time, and so I never wanted to waste a ski trip.
That's everybody's reason.
Yeah. So now that I've got a buddy up in Breckenridge, maybe I'll come up and you can teach me how to snowboard.
Heck yeah, man, we can come out. My wife might teach you better than I can, but we got a good ski in, ski out too, so you can just strap it up and go.
My main issue is how goofy you guys look getting off a lift, and you have to sit down and get your little duck feet settled into your snowboard. You look so cool, except for when you're not moving.
Yeah, but that's the only time we don't look cool. Y'all skiers look not cool the whole time, so I'll take that trade off. And but yeah, sometimes we stand up when we board up, man. We don't always sit down. Depends on what run you're on.
Hey, did you see the guy in the X Games the other day that hit, what was it, like a 2380 or something? I mean, he spun like 10 times in the air.
No, I did not. That's insane.
Yeah, somebody hit the first ever, I think it was a 2380. I literally can't even calculate how many times they're rotating, but
yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, I grew up in the Tony Hawk era of skateboarding, so I have a 900 stuck in my head, and I'm like, oh, that's 1.5 times more than that. So,
yeah, just imagine how big a deal it was when Tony Hawk hit that in the half pipe.
Heck yeah, I remember watching on like ESPN him trying to hit it late that night. So yeah, I'm with you. So do you get? I mean, you don't even stand out in Breckenridge, I'm sure, in this suit. What other people have you passed today? I always see a guy in a banana suit or something. Like what?
I haven't
what
seen
other
that. So my buddy of mine from Georgia who actually got me this, he also has a Tipsy Elf suit, and it's like bright neon pink, yellow, like orange, like this. You see him from you show him 9, you could see him at 7, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see plenty of Tipsy Elves outfits out here. I haven't seen many costumes. You see a lot of hockey jerseys. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of Kansas City Chiefs jerseys this past weekend. but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good known to stand out. I'm not a standard guy, as most know. I've got, I got my Georgia Bulldog jersey hanging in the closet when I want to wear that. I've got, if people watch the show Shoresy, I've got one of his jerseys hanging in my closet. So there's definitely nothing in the norm for me, which everybody already knows that anyway. So no surprise there.
Is that a Borat sticker on your helmet?
It sure is.
Other way. Yeah, there you go. Very
What
nice.
is the QR code?
Pull out your phone and find out.
Okay.
If it reacts.
I'm gonna get rickrolled.
Yes, you are.
Okay,
yes, you are.
I knew it.
I've gotten about 5 people in line already just for them doing it. And they go, you son of a. That's why it's on there.
That's so funny, man. Well,
Josh, I imagine you've been in Breckenridge. You said your kids are in ski school. A lot of stuff going on, but I imagine you have been following the last week and a half within Astroville has been hectic, to say the least. Alex Bregman's still unsigned. The Astros are back in it. But the thing we do know is that Ryan Pressly will not be an Astro next year, traded to the Chicago Cubs in what was basically a salary dump. Like, let's not try. Like Dana Brown tried to talk up the young pitching prospect that they got. It was a salary dump. They wanted his $14 million off the books. They got $8.5 million of it off the books. So now they're free to maybe sign Bregman. Who knows? But this was a salary dump, Josh. And I guess your reaction to the Pressly trade, and are you surprised that we've now seen 2 salary dumps this year with Kyle Tucker and now with Ryan Pressly? How surprising is that to you?
It's very surprising. I mean, I think we all are pretty clear that Pressly was upset that he lost his closer role after, not even losing it. He didn't have to do anything to lose that job. Obviously, with Hader, you get a 5-star closer, but Pressly was right there with him being just a 5-star closer. I mean, this guy just closed out the World Series for you. He's been pretty phenomenal for you ever since he got over there. So you can understand Ryan Pressly's probably pretty upset and had, pretty much no problem accepting that no trade clause and getting out of it. But yeah, I agree with you. 100% salary dump to hopefully try to sign Bregman or another person that they can look at to make everything work for them to get them where they need to be. But two so closely together and into the same team is pretty crazy, when they should have probably just maybe had a little package deal and maybe got a little bit more for both of them. I'm guessing, but we'll see how that pans out for that pitching prospect.
We know that not Josh. We know that Ryan Pressly was upset. Obviously, that the Astros signed Josh Hader last year. We know that because Dana Brown on Tuesday during a Zoom with the media was probably as candid as I've ever heard a baseball executive, describing that his relationship with Ryan Pressly really soured throughout last season. It was something that was pretty plainly known throughout the team. It just never really bubbled up publicly until this trade. Josh, you've been around a lot of executives. You've been around a lot of clubhouses, things like that. How surprised were you to hear Dana Brown be that candid about his fractured relationship with Ryan Pressly?
Very. I mean, this is a business in a sport on professionalism and a bunch of grown men just, talking out face to face. If you can't talk face to face with anybody in this business, you're going to lose a lot of respect for that person individually. So I'm sure that Ryan lost a lot of respect for somebody like that, just to come out and say, our relationship was fractured and probably would have been no matter what. But, I think that something should have been done about, talking to Ryan a little bit better about it and just, being a little bit of a man about it, because, these things, you see these guys all the time. You don't want to have sour relationships because you never know how that's going to affect the player. And he may not want to go out there and, perform his best for you. And he's still going to be a great teammate because Pressly is a great guy and a great teammate. So he's not going to hold that grudge. But to have that come from somebody in that position, it's pretty hard. It's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. I mean, that was so weird to read, like just unprompted. Like, you don't have to say that, even if it's true. You don't have to say it out loud into a microphone.
Nope.
Very, very strange. And then the other news we mentioned, maybe trying to sign Bregman, and with that came some of the silliest Astros news I think we've had in a while, which is Jose Altuve and the possibility of moving to left field. So you are our resident outfield expert. Can Jose Altuve play left field? Is that a possibility?
I mean, anything is possible. Just to quote Kevin Garnett real quick. You see crazier things. I mean, look at the guys like, Tatis got moved out there and he got a gold glove out there. So you just never know. And Jose's an athlete. He's an all around athlete. So I think is it going to be easy to learn? Absolutely not. But is it going to be something that he can learn and handle? Absolutely. He's going to spend all his extra time. We've already seen pictures and footage of him already out there working at it at Dyken Park. He's going to be working his butt off at it in spring training. And, they've got a good system out there, keeping their outfielders has been something that we've always had a good pride in, and they've always had really good defensive outfielders. So he's got good, the young kids can help him out a lot. And it was like I told about Jordan playing a little bit. Maybe you shift Jake or Chaz, whoever's playing center that day over there. But, Tuve's got the speed to cover anything, and that's not really going to be an issue. The issue for him is probably those line drives. Line drives are the hardest one to master, even if you're a seasoned outfitter. It's the ones whether they're going to go right at you, are they going to top spin, or are they going to keep going? That's going to be your hardest part for him to learn. But can he do it? Absolutely. And I think you pick your poison with it. You give Altuve the days where it might be not as easy, where you want Jordan out there for like the Fenways and the Dyken, but you give Altuve a little bit easier task to kind of manage his workload and make it look better. And if he starts improving, then you throw him out there more. So I think he's got every ability to get it done. He's just got to learn how to throw the baseball from that distance. That'll be probably his only issue.
Yeah, I mean, we know that left field is of the outfield positions the quote unquote easiest, right? Like, so if you're trying to teach a professional athlete who knows what they're doing at one position, a new position, especially in left field, obviously you kind of have to go back to the fundamentals of certain things. Like you just mentioned, obviously line drives can be difficult. You're wanting to hit the cutoff man. Like what is the like base floor things that you have to be able to do to play left field and not embarrass yourself? Like what do you have to be working on for the next 2 months to be ready for the season?
Well, I mean, I think for him, it's just about getting his reads, getting his times, getting his reads on everything that he can get. Workload is going to be his best opportunity to get better. And when the game's a lot different than you get those batting practice, those reads and those coach reads. So just getting his reps in spring training, I think is going to be what really gets him out there. And I always tell when you're playing outfield, when you need that advantage to get that step, you're not looking at the hitter. You're not looking at the pitcher. You're not following the baseball. You focus about 5 feet in front of the hitter. And your eyes, as good as baseball players are, your eyes are going to pick up that baseball and you'll get a better reaction because you're looking for the ball out front. You're not trying to get the ball off the bat. You're looking to where the ball is right before it's hit. That gives you your better option. And, I'm going to preach the old cliche saying for the outfield, your first step's got to be back. Your first reaction has to be hold your spot and just then react. Hold your spot and react. And doing that and watching that 5 feet in front of that hitter is going to be a lot better reaction time for you.
Okay, I hadn't heard that one. We're learning new things. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This, Josh, this may be a stupid question, but it's one that Jose kind of hinted at it at FanFest Saturday when he was asked about it. How much does his height play in does his height matter at all? I mean, I think back to 2018 and Tony Kemp played left field at Minute Maid Park, and Tony Kemp's about Altuve's size. I mean, does his height factor into this at all, or is it just not a non?
No, not. I mean, especially at Dyken Park, I don't think it's going to be an issue because you're not going to want Jose Altuve running into that scoreboard to make a play. And I think that once because you might get a few more hit over your head every now and then, but you took the words right out of my mouth. Tony Kemp played an excellent outfield for us. He's played an excellent outfield everywhere he's gone. So I mean, I don't think height has to become a factor. Obviously, you want a taller guy out there, but you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's going to be just fine. There's no issue. I think, Ricky Henderson wasn't very tall, and that man managed just fine.
Josh, we're going to let you go because obviously you have more important to talk to us. But real quick, we're not going to let you go without asking about Bregman. He's still out there. As far as we know, it's still the 5 teams that we've heard about: the Astros, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Tigers, and the Cubs. The Astros 6-year, $156 million offer is still out there. Gut feeling, you think he ends up back in Houston?
He's a Boris guy, so for that much money, I can't see it happening. I think that's a combo that sticks to their guns, and if they have to wait through spring training, that they might have to do that.
And this is not based on any reporting, but the Cubs getting Presley, who was tight with Bregman, who the Cubs they've got the room, they've got the money. To me, they seem they seem like an easier spot to envision maybe than the last week or so. It seems like their chances have grown a little bit, especially after they got Presley, who Bregman's tight with. They've got Tucker. They need a third baseman. They're going to run a rookie out there this year, Matt Shaw. So they need someone like him. And I think the Cubs are maybe positioning themselves as a dark horse favorite.
I could agree with you because they got that taste of winning from the 15, 16, 17 years and all that. So, and they've been out of the hunt for a little while. So I think they're probably a little hungry to get out there, and it shows that they're trying to get out there and compete when they take two guys from the Astros like that, who's high caliber as they are. And it shows that they're trying, and they pretty much probably won't be done.
All right, Josh. Well, this was great. We'll have to think of another. Locale for you to do if we get to 100. Rate and reviews.
You got to see surfing
Apple
next time in Hawaii.
I don't surf, but we can definitely make it a Hawaii office.
Ooh,
absolutely. Maybe a little hot tub action for you.
How about a Crush City meetup in Hawaii? You want to help us out there?
A what? A Crush meetup?
Yeah.
Hey, you get there. We'll make it happen.
All right, deal.
All right, we're at as of right now, 65 ratings on Apple. Let's see if we get to 100. Josh will do a show in a hot tub. Does that work?
I'll do a show in a hot tub. We don't go to Hawaii for a couple of months, but we'll put it on the calendar for sure.
We'll make it happen.
We will get it done. 100 likes, 100 reviews on Apple. Josh will get in the hot tub. Have fun, Josh. Stay upright. Stay healthy because the Astros may need you to play the outfield at some point.
I just started working out again, so they got my number.
You got to stop snowboarding if you do, right? If you sign that contract, they take away all the fun stuff.
I'll make that trade.
Deal.
Baseball's more fun.
All right, Josh.
All right, guys.
Have fun. Have a good one.
Yep. See you.
See you.
Bye.
All right, Tyler. That went better than I thought it would.
You could hear him, which I was concerned with.
I thought he sounded better then than he does normally, which is probably an issue for another day. Before we continue, let's hear a message from the Foul Territory Network, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about some prospect rankings that have been out. We'll keep talking about Bregman. We'll keep talking about Altuve in left field and those weird comments from Dana Brown. But right now, a message from Foul Territory.
Newsflash, FT fam, America's #1 meal kit has a new offer for you. But first, Kratz, tell us why we love HelloFresh.
Figuring out dinner is so much easier now. I go online and pick from 50 recipes each week. They pre-portion the ingredients and then ship them right to your doorstep. Now that's the service we all deserve at an affordable price.
Don't forget about those new ready-made meals that go from fridge to fork in just 3 minutes. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-worthy flavor you always get from HelloFresh, just with none of the work.
We love that. If you're looking to fit a specific lifestyle, HelloFresh features preferences like fit and wholesome, or my personal favorite, quick and easy. This week, I'm crushing a sizzling shrimp bowl with roasted broccoli and spicy mayo, plus a dreamy mustard apricot chicken dish with roasted potatoes and green beans.
Get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
All right. I feel like, Tyler, we talked about it. Josh had some strong thoughts on it, but these comments Dana Brown made about his relationship with Ryan Presley, and full disclosure, I'm the one that asked him the question.
Come on.
And the question literally was, can you describe your relationship with Ryan Presley last season? It was not some gotcha thing. It was a very open-ended thing that, Dana he's a scout by trade, and scouts, that's just kind of how scouts talk. They don't talk like your normal Ivy League quarter zip execs. But I think there should be some, credit given that he told the truth. And this was something that throughout the season just kind of festered a little bit. No one really knew. It was obviously kind of known within the clubhouse. And I talked to people familiar with Presley's thinking, familiar with the Astros thinking, that part of the reason that they started shopping him, priority number one was getting the money off the books. But there was also, they knew that the relationship there was pretty much irreparable, and it wasn't going to be fixed overnight. And that is at least part of the reason why Ryan Presley is no longer an Astro, and Tyler, that just kind of speaks to a kind of cruel, cold side of the business. That, Ryan Presley was on a Zoom with Cubs reporters yesterday and said he wanted to retire as an Astro. That could still happen. I guess I could re-sign him after this season, but he did not sound like a guy that wanted to leave. He sounded like a guy that wanted to stay here, but just circumstances out of his control, and a difficult year for him ends kind of how we all thought it would.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I think it's really easy to understand both sides. Like, I completely get how Ryan Presley can be upset and hurt and feel betrayed by having, the team that he's closed for what, 6-7 years, and did not do anything to warrant a demotion. But also, if you sign Josh Hader, he's your closer. Like, that's the reality, right? I mean, Josh joked about in 2017 when the Astros, might have traded for Bryce Harper, him saying like, well, I understand if Bryce Harper comes here, I'm not playing. And like, you get that. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And so I completely understand both sides there. And, obviously we were not in the conversations of Dana Brown calling Presley to say, hey, this is a possibility, whatever. I don't know if it could have been handled better or differently, but I don't think, there's not an easy way to call your closer and say, hey, we're signing a better closer and you're not going to be the closer anymore. It's just really weird to say that in a press conference. Now, as you and I both varying degrees of journalists here, you want people to be honest and to answer. So you don't want to say like, don't say that, right? Because like, that's good. Whenever people are honest, you don't want just canned answers. But it was really strange to see that quote, for sure.
I, for one, am never going to begrudge Dana Brown for being candid. I would rather this as just a reporter, and it's not even, it's for my own, it's selfishly, sure, but like for the fans too, like this gives you like actual insight. Like you're not being gaslit or fed crap that, Dana Brown got on that Zoom the other day and tried to talk up Juan Bello, and maybe Juan Bello will turn into an 8-time Cy Young winner. Maybe, I don't know. But like, the Astros did not trade Ryan Presley because they love Juan Bello, who was a 20-year-old Colombian pitcher that they're going to stick in the lower levels of the minor leagues. Like, that's not why this happened. This happened because they needed room financially. They needed to dump his salary. And there was a rift between Ryan Presley and his boss. And the money had a lot more to do with it than the rift. But now we have like a full story. Like, it was funny at FanFest, Dana Brown, I asked him again, I said, this was when the deal was on the table, but Presley hadn't waived the no trade yet. We asked, is this due to his performance, or is this due to you needing money on your payroll? And he tried to say, oh, we do all this to get returns. No, you did not make this trade to get a return. You made this trade to dump salary. And with this room, as we talked about with Josh, Alex Bregman still looms out there. There has been no substantial movement in his market, though I think it is getting a little bit. I think it is moving a little bit, but I don't think anything is imminent. I say that, and we're going to get off this podcast. He's going to sign somewhere. But the other guy that has been talked about a lot is Jorge Polanco. Switch hitter, underwent knee surgery in October on his left knee, has been fully cleared to resume all baseball activities, should be 100% in spring training, should be 100% when the season starts. Did not have a good year in Seattle last year, but no one ever has good years in Seattle because no one can hit there. Also, his knee was a problem. My informed speculation is that the Astros are going to get one of these two players. They are either going to sign Bregman or they're going to sign Polanco. And if that happens, Jose Altuve will go to left field no matter what. Dana Brown basically said that on the Zoom too, that Altuve is going to split time between second base and left field. Altuve is going to play left field in 2025 a little bit. What do you think, Tyler? When I say the name Jorge Polanco, does that excite you? Does that get you going? Is that a suitable fallback if Alex Bregman's not back in Houston?
First off, before we get into that, maybe you know this answer already. I looked it up. How old do you think Jorge Polanco is?
I haven't looked it up. I've written about him the last 3 days and haven't looked it up. I'd probably say 26.
What? I thought he was like 40. I feel like he's been in the league forever. He has. He debuted in 2014. He has been around forever. He's only 31.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I just feel like that's a name that's been in baseball forever. You know, like Jorge Polanco. Of course, he's a guy that's going to get 2 WAR, and you know he's just there, and he's a piece, which is a valuable piece. So it makes sense. I get it. I'm not gonna like shoot off fireworks that Jorge Polanco's on the team, but it makes sense. I mean, it's a way to fill a hole in the lineup, and it's a pretty consistent person. You know, like you're not gonna worry about what that's gonna be. But yeah, I would definitely prefer Alex Bregman. I don't know if you've heard of him. I would rather have him play for the Astros personally.
You seem to echo a lot of the fan base because when the reporting came out about Jorge Polanco, my Twitter mentions were not pretty. People did not love that option.
People
Tyler,
are normally really nice to you, though, right?
Oh yeah, they love me. Everyone on Twitter loves me and thanks me for my work. Doesn't get mad that it's behind a paywall. You know, they're very understanding, and I appreciate. That's why I love every single one of my Twitter followers.
I like when you say like something like like the other day you were like, "Oh, the Presley trade is done," and immediately someone's like, "Who's coming back?" Like, you think I wouldn't have just written that if I already if I knew? You think I was waiting on a reply? Like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that.
My favorite is, and again, I understand the Athletics behind a paywall, and not a lot of, and there's people that I'm never going to tell people what to do with their own money. Like, I would love it if you subscribe to the Athletic, but I'm not going to sit here and browbeat you about subscribing. But I do love the replies I get that are literally questions that are written about and answered within the first 2 paragraphs of a story I just posted. Like that is probably the most frustrating, but again, never going to tell people what to do with their money, but please subscribe to the Athletic. It would really, really help. Tyler, how much of all of this is maybe more of a, we talked about it a little bit on the last pod that Jose Altuve was always going to have to move off to second base. He was not going to end his career as the Astros second baseman. I guess maybe it's now coming into full view that that this may have been a plan that they had been talking about and kept from us very well. This may have been, because it sounds like either way, like if Jorge Polanco comes in here, he's going to play the majority of the time at second base. If Alex Bregman comes here, Isaac Paredes is going to go to second base. Like both of their plans right now involve another second baseman. So how much of this is, I guess it's twofold. How much of this is they need to get a bad defensive second baseman off of second base with the pitching staff that they have? And how much of it is they don't have a ton of belief in the outfielders they have in the system, whether it's Melton, whether it's DeZenzo, who knows? They don't have a ton of belief in them, so they need to stick Altuve out there until they can get some guys that they believe in.
Yeah, I mean, I to me, it doesn't feel like a thing that they've been ruminating on for a while. It's just they traded Kyle Tucker and suddenly realized, oh, shoot, we don't have 3 playable major league outfielders, and you need 4.
I would argue that they should have known that before they traded Kyle Tucker, but that's a different day.
But, it doesn't seem like something that they were like, oh, this was our plan going in the offseason, right? It's just they kind of looked up and were like, uh-oh, it's probably easier to find a second baseman that is playable than an outfielder for whatever reason in this market. But yeah, I mean, it's It's interesting. I mean, it also worked out that it seems like Altuve is okay with it, that he's not like upset. I don't know. Maybe we get a Dana Brown Zoom call next offseason and find out Altuve hates him now because made him play left field. Maybe you should ask that in the next one. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. But at the same time, look, I follow the Astros pretty closely. I'm not super excited about any of the outfield prospects. I assume the Astros aren't either, and so they're not stupid. They understand they're trying to win right now, and they don't have anybody in the system that they can look at and go, "This is a key piece of a winning baseball team."
Yeah, and speaking of that, this is the time of year where all the prospect rankings from all the outside publications start to drop. Keith Law at The Athletic dropped his top 100 a couple of days ago. Baseball America, our friends at Baseball America, have dropped their top 100, have also dropped their top 30 prospects by team. And they're great partners with Foul Territory. You can get 30% off the first year of any annual subscription to Baseball America by using the promo code CrushCity30. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a QR code right below us. You scan that and it'll take you right there. But if you're interested in reading Baseball America stuff, and as someone that has written for Baseball America before, they do great work. Would highly recommend checking them out. Use the promo code CrushCity30. You can get 30% off the first year any annual subscription. And I don't want to give everything away in either Keith's rankings or Baseball America's rankings because they're both behind a paywall, and I would much rather not. I don't want to give away their work for free because I think, I would encourage people to pay to read it. But something unanimous within both, the Astros only have one top 100 prospect, and it's Cam Smith, who they had to acquire this winter. Dana Brown's already said that they're going to try him in the corner outfields in spring training. His bat's going to kind of demonstrate to them, where he needs to go. But Tyler, it's not again, Keith released his organizational rankings today, and the Astros are 29th to 30 as far as farm systems go by his rankings. They've got to get the farm better, and it's what they hired Dana Brown in part to do. And this was never going to happen overnight. They had to trade some guys in the last couple of years to get Verlander back, to get Yusei Kikuchi. But it is difficult to look and say Dana Brown's been on the job now this is coming up on year 3, and this farm system by a lot of outside projections has not improved much.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you forget is that the top 100 prospects are not 100 superstars. Those are like, past the top 10. If you get a guy that makes it to free agency, like that's a huge win, right? And so, like a top, the 50th ranked prospect in baseball, if that guy produces 10 WAR in a career, like that's a win for those guys. The fact that the Astros don't have anybody outside of Cam Smith is concerning for roster building. It's not, like I said, it's not that you're building a core around anybody in your top 100 prospects. These are just guys that like can play Major League Baseball, right? And so it is definitely concerning to not have anybody outside of Astros legend Cam Smith in the top 100 prospects.
And as a lot of fans will probably comment on this, the Astros they've had a bottom-ranked farm system for the last 3-4 years, and they have continued to win. They have succeeded with guys like Chas McCormick, with guys like that were drafted in later in the draft from small schools. You look at Eric Getty, you look at Brown, they have had success finding big leaguers. Like we've talked about some of their past drafts where you look and they have drafted 13 big leaguers in a draft before, which is good. That on its face, if you draft 13 big leaguers in a draft, that's good. What they have failed to do, and as we've talked about, their first and second round picks, when they have had them, have not hit. They have not gotten the top end talent that is the sort that they have not gotten the Kyle Tuckers. They have not gotten the Alex Bregmans. They have not gotten, Forrest Whitley has a clear path to make this team, but like Forrest Whitley was once the best pitching prospect in baseball, and it just hasn't panned out that way for him. He can still create some value for himself, but it hasn't panned out the way it needed to for a first round pick to hit like that. So they have got to find a way to, while also getting the Chas McCormicks and the Jake Myerses and those guys of the world, the big leaguers that can help you, they've got to find the top end contributors as well, because as I think we've seen, and as one of the reasons Jose Altuve is moving to left field, you can't build a roster around a group of Chas McCormicks and Jake Myers. And I hate to keep using both of their names, but they're the ones that just kind of personify what they have been good at. They've been good at finding small school guys in the middle of the draft, signing them for no money, and then using their player development machine and getting them to be serviceable big leaguers. But they need some guys to take a step more than that.
Yeah, and just to kind of paint a picture, I brought up the 2012 top 100 prospects. So it starts with a couple of guys you may have heard of: Bryce Harper and Mike Trout. Number one on the list, Chandler, famously. Do you know?
Is it Byron Buxton?
Ooh, it is Matt Moore was ranked above Harper and Trout. So at the top, Garrett Cole comes in at number 11.
Good player.
Yeah.
Good player.
Then we scroll down, just a little bit. You've got Dylan Betances. You got John Singleton at 44, Jake Odorizzi at 47. You've got Gene Segura at 55, Jake Marisnik at 58, Jared Cozart at 61. So just to give you an idea, like Brad Peacock, number 75. And again, some people hit further down, like George Springer was 84th on that list, right ahead of Matt Dominguez. But the point is that guys on the top 100 don't have to be superstars to be top 100 prospects. They are just serviceable big leaguers, right? And yeah, it does not bode well for the 2030 Astros that they don't have anybody. I don't think it hurts them this year, but it definitely makes drafting a whole lot more important, because you can't miss anymore in the top couple of rounds. You just don't have anybody in the system that you can rely on. So, this year's draft is going to be really big. Cam Smith panning out is going to be really, really big. If he's not a 6-7 year starter for the Astros, they're in a lot of trouble in a few years.
And there's no rule stating that current prospects in the system can't get better. Like,
sure.
They need Bryce Matthews to take a big leap this year, and
that's good. They haven't made that a rule. I appreciate that.
They need Bryce Matthews to take a leap this year. They need Jacob Melton to take a leap this year, to maybe where Jacob Melton is forcing their hand in May or June, to where it's like, all right, we don't have to play Altuve every day in the outfield. We can bring Melton up, see how Chaz and Jake are doing and go from there. But like, they need some of these guys to develop and take that next step. And that will go a long way too, because the draft's an inexact science. We just talked about Forrest Whitley. This is the same franchise that whiffed on 1-1 on the first overall pick 2 years in a row and has still somehow recovered. But the draft's an inexact science. The Astros, for the immediacy of it, they need some guys in the system to take the leap. And I think Bryce Matthews, Jacob Melton, Miguel Ulloa, foremost among them as guys that we'll be looking at in spring training as, non-roster guys that I think that the coaching staff's going to have their eyes on. And I'm not saying any of those guys are going to make the big or make opening day roster or anything, but they're going to need those guys to contribute this year. And with the way this roster is constructed, they're going to need some of these guys to take a leap and be ready to contribute. And we'll see if they'll be able to do it. We'll be there watching it all. We appreciate the outpouring of support and the constant subscriptions, rates, and reviews, and the kind comments you guys have had. You're the reason Josh Reddick did today's show from a ski lift in Breckenridge. you could be the reason you see him in a hot tub in a couple of months. So keep that in mind. We appreciate it. Again, we'll be back whenever Alex Bregman signs, whoever he signs with, we will do an emergency podcast. But if that doesn't happen soon, we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.